What if America's closest friends, countries it has trusted for decades, quietly started shifting their loyalty elsewhere? Not to Russia or China, but to Canada. Why are these US allies turning north, and why is nobody talking about it? Number 10. Germany. It might sound absurd, but a country that once stood shoulder to shoulder with America in NATO missions is now helping build Canada's hospitals. In 2025, Germany's Siemens Healthineers invested over $200 million Canadian dollars into Alberta's healthcare system. This significant investment, directed at 2 ultra-modern cancer centers, cutting-edge equipment, and a new medical research fund, signals a strategic shift. This isn't charity, it's strategy. Germany sees something promising brewing up north: a stable economy, innovation without chaos, and policies that don't fluctuate with every election. Number 9. United Kingdom. What if one of America's oldest allies, with shared histories in wars, Five Eyes intelligence, and royal handshakes, suddenly started moving its billion-dollar science empire to Canada? It sounds like betrayal, but it's already happening. AstraZeneca, the pharmaceutical giant behind one of the world's leading COVID-19 vaccines, recently invested over £460 million, more than 700 million Canadian dollars, into a new research hub in Toronto. This move is creating 700 high-skilled jobs in Canada, not the US. Why would the UK choose maple leaves over the stars and stripes? Perhaps they're weary of the political soap opera. Maybe Canada's science policies are more stable, or perhaps they see where the real future lies. Number 8. Japan. What happens when one of America's most loyal allies starts locking arms with Canada, with no warning and no headlines, just billion-dollar deals and quiet handshakes? One might expect the US to notice if Japan, the very same Japan that Washington has backed since World War II, started shifting its trust north. But it's already happening. In early 2025, Japan signed a groundbreaking energy agreement with Canada, completely bypassing the US. This wasn't a mere memorandum of understanding, it was a full-scale strategic handshake involving Canada's Institute for Clean Energy, the First Nations LNG Alliance, and the Institute of Energy Economics, Japan. The goal is to secure long-term access to Canada's liquefied natural gas, which is cleaner, cheaper, and closer than oil from the Middle East. Why rely on volatile global routes when Canada is right next door with stable supply and political calm? This is more than just an energy deal, it's diplomacy. Japan is forging direct economic and political pipelines to Canada, forming indigenous partnerships and investing in port infrastructure, all without US involvement. The country that once sought US protection during the Cold War is now conducting business on its own terms and choosing Canada as its new partner of trust. Number 7. Finland. What does a tiny, northern European country with world-class saunas and almost no military scandals have to do with Canada's Arctic power grab? More than you think. This isn't about reindeer diplomacy. It's about warships, billion-dollar secrets, and a quiet alliance that has Washington raising its eyebrows, if it's even paying attention. In mid-2024, Canada and Finland inked the Ice Pact, short for Icebreaker Collaboration Effort. This isn't about sipping cocoa in the snow. It's a strategic defense and infrastructure deal to co-develop Arctic warships and dominate the frozen north. These ships aren't just for breaking ice. They're designed to challenge the monopoly the US thought it had in Arctic navigation. While American shipyards are tied up in red tape and budget debates, Finland is injecting its cold weather technology into Canadian shipyards, developing military-grade icebreakers capable of navigating where most ships would freeze and fail. Finland's world-renowned Arctic engineering, paired with Canada's geographic access, creates a powerful polar alliance. Number 6. Italy. How do you know an alliance is starting to crack? When your oldest friends start shopping for submarines and stop knocking on your door. That's exactly what's happening right now. Italy, a NATO member, a longtime US partner, and the land of pasta, popes, and precision engineering, is quietly pivoting, and it's looking north. In 2025, Italy offered Canada a bold, behind-the-scenes deal. Let's build the future of warfare together. This involves submarines, fighter jets, and next-generation naval platforms, and conspicuously, the United States is not in the room. Italy's Ministry of Defense reached out to Ottawa, proposing a joint venture that would entirely bypass U.S. military contractors. No Lockheed Martin, no Boeing, just Rome and Ottawa co-developing stealth technology and warship systems. Why would Italy, home to Europe's most stylish tanks and jet engines, approach Canada instead of Washington, D.C.? Perhaps they're tired of being drowned in Pentagon paperwork. Maybe Canada is easier to deal with. Or perhaps it's a quiet rebellion, a message that Washington's grip on global arms deals is slipping. Number 5. South Korea. How do you know a global alliance is quietly unraveling? When a country that owes its entire modern survival to U.S. protection suddenly starts shipping missiles and building defense labs not in Texas, but in Toronto. In 2025, South Korea, a nation that has long relied on U.S. military backing against North Korea, signed a stunning multi-year defense technology agreement with Canada. No press conference, no fireworks. Just a cold handshake and a warm billion-dollar smile. The deal involves the joint development of advanced radar systems, drone swarms, and AI-guided missile technology, all to be made and tested on Canadian soil. Meanwhile, the US is seemingly watching Netflix reruns of past alliances, wondering why no one RSVP'd to their weapons expo. Why Canada? Simple. Ottawa offers fewer geopolitical strains, smoother regulations, and significantly less political whiplash. South Korea is betting on consistency, and right now, Canada is the model student with perfect attendance and zero tantrums in class. It gets even crazier. South Korean tech giants like Samsung and Hyundai are also doubling down on Canada, not just with gadgets but with quantum computing labs, battery research, and electric vehicle hubs. Toronto, Vancouver, and even Halifax are suddenly looking like Seoul's second home. Number 4. Netherlands. Can you imagine a country so small it could fit inside California nearly 7 times, yet it holds the keys to the world's most advanced computer chips? Now imagine that same country quietly choosing Canada over the United States, with no press release, no warning, just billions flowing north. It sounds like a bad spy thriller, but it's real. In 2025, ASML, the Dutch tech titan that literally builds the machines that make advanced microchips, announced a strategic partnership to expand research in Canada, not the US. This isn't small potatoes. It involves deep tech labs, academic collaborations, and federal support from Ottawa to fast-track semiconductor sovereignty. So, why is the Netherlands sliding billions into Canada's tech ecosystem instead of Silicon Valley? 2 words: trust and stability. The Dutch watched the US fumble chip policy, drown in partisan bickering, and nearly shut down their own government over budget votes. Meanwhile, Canada rolled out tax credits, fast permits, and a talent pool full of PhDs who actually want to stay in the country. But it doesn't stop at microchips. Dutch agricultural giants are also turning Canada into their new food lab. From vertical farming in Alberta to greenhouse AI in British Columbia, they're literally betting on Canadian soil to build the farms of the future. And the US? Still trying to figure out if climate change is real. Number 3. France. Ever seen a global superpower ghost its oldest ally and fall head over heels for the polite kid next door? No drama, no press conference, just silent, calculated moves worth billions. That's exactly what's happening right now. France is shifting its game, and no, the United States is not the chosen one. In 2025, France doubled down on its energy future, but instead of partnering with the US on green hydrogen or nuclear tech, it inked a multi-billion Canadian dollar alliance through Hydro-Quebec. That's right. France is building next-generation clean energy grids with Canada, not with its traditional Atlantic buddy. So, why is Paris placing its bets on maple leaves and moose instead of eagles and stars? Because Canada is offering something the US cannot: regulatory calm, climate leadership, and less political whiplash. France needs energy security that doesn't get hijacked every election cycle, and Canada is delivering exactly that. But this affair isn't just about kilowatts and wind farms. France's Dassault Aviation, the maker of Rafale fighter jets, has initiated talks with Ottawa for aerospace co-production. French universities are expanding campuses in Montreal, and Paris has just greenlit a multi-million euro deal to support French AI firms relocating to Toronto. Number 2. Australia. Picture this. Two best friends facing the same threats, signing the same defense pacts, then one quietly slips away to go surfing with someone else. That's exactly the vibe right now, except the ocean is colder, and the someone else is Canada. In 2025, Australia stunned insiders by ramping up joint space tech projects with Canada, not the United States. We're talking satellite defense systems, orbital surveillance, and shared control stations in remote Canadian territories. Sounds harmless, but it's not. These are the eyes in the sky that used to be Washington's specialty. Here's where it gets bolder. Australia's top mining companies are now funneling rare earth investments into northern Quebec, not Texas or Nevada. Why? Because Canada offers cleaner extraction policies, better Indigenous partnerships, and fewer congressional breakdowns every 5 minutes. And just to twist the knife, Australia recently invited Canada into a new regional climate pact while America sat awkwardly on the sidelines. Number 1. India. Imagine your so-called strategic partner giving you the thumbs up in public, but behind the scenes, they're wiring billions into someone else's bank account. That's not just betrayal, it's realpolitik. And right now, the world's largest democracy is quietly cozying up to Canada. In 2025, while American diplomats were still issuing statements about strengthening ties, India was signing silent mega deals with Ottawa. These include energy pipelines, green tech partnerships, semiconductor fabs, and even direct military collaboration. Yes, military collaboration. While Washington was watching cable news, New Delhi was redrawing its alliance map. Here's the plot twist. This shift came just months after US-India relations hit an awkward freeze over surveillance allegations and trade spats. India didn't start yelling, it just started packing and shipping its next phase of global cooperation to Canada. India's state-owned energy companies have poured billions into Canadian liquefied natural gas terminals, not Texas or Alaska, but British Columbia. Why? Because Canada offers cleaner regulation, less drama, and a better long-term pipeline to Asia. Meanwhile, tech giants like Infosys and TCS are expanding faster in Toronto and Vancouver than they are in Silicon Valley. Even Indian defense firms are lobbying for joint AI drone projects on Canadian soil. The global map of power and trust is clearly being redrawn, one silent handshake at a time, and Canada is right in the middle of it.